Chosen one. There is a force within you that the world cannot measure, a strength you did not ask for but were born to carry. From the moment you took your first breath, you were marked with a weight of destiny that could not be denied. This is why your life has never been ordinary. You have walked roads others were too afraid to even look at. You have carried battles in silence that would have crushed many. And though people may not have recognized the depth of your endurance, heaven has always known who you are. When you rise, realms tremble, because the fire within you is not just human, it is divine. For years you may have felt misunderstood, even invisible. You tried to explain the heaviness in your spirit, the unshakable intensity in your emotions, the way you see the world so differently from those around you. But words were never enough, because you are not like everyone else. You are set apart, chosen for a higher purpose. This is why your struggles felt heavier, your loneliness deeper, your tests more unrelenting. Every trial was shaping you, not breaking you. Every tear was watering seeds of resilience, not despair. Every closed door was redirection, not rejection. Even in the silence, something within you was being built that could not be destroyed. Think about it. How many times did you think you could not make it through another storm? How many nights did you lie awake, asking yourself if it was even worth continuing? And yet you rose. You rose when no one expected you to. You rose when you had nothing left but faith. You rose when everything around you told you to quit. That rising was not small. It sent ripples through unseen realms. It shook the very ground of opposition that tried to destroy you. And every time you rose, realms trembled, because your existence carries authority that darkness cannot ignore. Your presence has always carried a weight that others could not explain. Some admired you without knowing why. Others feared you without understanding what they sensed. But all of them felt something, because the chosen are never neutral. You stir atmospheres just by walking into a room. You shift energies without opening your mouth. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. You were designed to carry light, to disrupt what is false, to ignite what is sleeping. And every time you rise above what tried to bury you, heaven moves with you. So do not underestimate the story you carry. Do not belittle the scars that still ache in quiet moments. Do not question the intensity that makes you feel different from everyone else. These are not flaws. They are signs. Signs that you were never ordinary. Signs that you were never forgotten. Signs that your rising is not just for you, but for all who are connected to you. When you rise, realms tremble, and the world cannot remain the same. Chosen one, before we journey deeper, pause for a moment and understand why this message has reached you. It is not by coincidence. It is alignment. This video found you because you are ready to hear these words, ready to awaken the truth that has always lived within you. That is why I invite you to stay until the very end, because there are special messages waiting that will stir your spirit and remind you of your power. And right now, I encourage you to take a step of faith. Write your most sincere wishes in the comments and seal them with the number 777. Do not underestimate this act. It is not just writing words, it is planting seeds into the universe. It is a declaration that you believe in your destiny, that you are calling forth energy to manifest what belongs to you. And while you do this, subscribe and stay connected, because this is not just another channel. It is a sanctuary for the chosen, a gathering place where faith, power, and transformation are released daily. Now, let us return to the fire within you. You must understand that when you rise, realms tremble. This is not a metaphor. It is a spiritual reality. Every time you refuse to stay down, every time you choose to get back up, the atmosphere shifts. Darkness shakes because it knows it cannot hold you. The unseen moves because your presence demands recognition. You may not always see it, but your rising sends vibrations through dimensions you do not even realize exist. This is why your journey has been filled with battles that seemed overwhelming. Opposition does not come to those with no purpose. It comes to those whose rising threatens the very balance of darkness. Think about the moments where you felt crushed under the weight of betrayal, rejection, or silence. You wondered if anyone saw your pain, if anyone even cared. And yet, at the moment when you thought you were finished, something shifted. A door opened. Strength returned. Peace came. That was no accident. That was heaven responding to your endurance. Every time you stir your spirit, realms tremble. Every time you stand back up, light pushes darkness aside. Every time you choose not to quit, the unseen bends in your favor. Your story has always been different. You were never designed to remain hidden. The weight you carry is not ordinary. It is divine. That is why others sense something in you, even if they cannot explain it. They feel your fire. They sense your authority. They react to your energy. Some are drawn to you, others are uncomfortable in your presence, but all are impacted. That is because when you rise, realms tremble, and nothing remains the same. So hold this truth tightly. You are never unseen, never forgotten, never powerless. Your rising is the signal that destiny is unfolding. And no matter how many times life tries to push you down, you will always rise again. And every time you do, heaven answers and realms tremble. Chosen one, you have carried storms inside your chest that few would survive, and you endured battles that were invisible to most eyes. Yet every time you refused to stay down, something extraordinary happened. The atmosphere around you shifted. When you rise, realms tremble, because your existence carries more than human strength. It carries divine weight. That is why life has never allowed you to remain ordinary. You were shaped to rise again and again, each time stronger, each time more radiant, each time more aligned with destiny. You may not always feel powerful, and that is what makes your story even more profound. True strength is not about always feeling confident. It is about rising even when fear whispers louder than hope. It is about standing tall when your knees shake, about moving forward when doubt tries to paralyze you, about refusing to quit when everything screams at you to give up. That kind of rising is not small. It is cosmic. It is a roar that shakes unseen realms, a signal that heaven itself leans closer to witness what you are becoming. Think about how many times you thought it was over. You said to yourself, I cannot take one more hit. I cannot carry one more disappointment. I cannot survive one more loss. Yet here you are, not only breathing, but still rising. This is why realms tremble, because your story is living proof that purpose cannot be buried. The chosen always rise. Even when crushed, they expand. Even when silenced, they roar in spirit. Even when pushed down, they stand taller than before. Every scar on your body, every mark on your soul is testimony. It is not evidence of defeat. It is evidence of survival. It is proof that nothing, not betrayal, not rejection, not heartbreak, not silence, could destroy the fire within you. That fire is what realms fear. That fire is why the unseen trembles when you rise. Because they know, no matter how many times you are struck down, you will stand again, and each time you rise, your authority only grows stronger. Your rising is not just for you. It ripples outward into the lives of others. People who watch you may never say it aloud, but your strength inspires them. They see the way you endure, and it awakens something inside them. They witness your fire, and it ignites a spark in their own spirit. That is why your journey has felt so heavy, because it was never just about you. When you rise, realms tremble, but people also awaken. Your life is a catalyst for transformation in ways you may never fully see. Do not let the weight of misunderstanding make you hide your power. Many will misread your intensity. Some will call you too much. Others will distance themselves because your presence makes them confront what they have avoided. But their reaction does not diminish your value. It only proves your fire is real. Carry it boldly. You were not born to play small. You were born to rise. And when you rise, realms tremble, because destiny moves with you. So step into this truth. You are unstoppable. You may bend, but you do not break. You may stumble, but you do not fall forever. You may cry, but you do not quit. And every time you rise, heaven answers, realms shake, and the world is forced to notice that the chosen cannot be silenced. Chosen one, you may not always see it with your physical eyes, but every time you decide to rise, invisible walls shake. There is a vibration that leaves your spirit when you refuse to remain broken. This vibration is not contained in this world alone. It travels into realms beyond your understanding. That is why when you rise, realms tremble. It is not because you shout the loudest or appear the strongest on the outside. It is because your spirit carries the authority of everything you've survived. For years, you were tested in silence. You endured rejection that pierced deeper than words. You walked through loneliness that felt like it would suffocate you. You carried burdens that had no outlet. Each of those moments left an imprint on your soul. And while people thought you were simply surviving, heaven saw that you were gathering power. That is why you are still standing. You were not shaped by comfort. You were forged in fire. That fire is the very reason realms react to your rising. The scars you carry are not signs of weakness. They are evidence of a warrior whose presence cannot be ignored. Think of those seasons when you were underestimated. People thought you would collapse, disappear, or fade quietly. But every time they counted you out, you rose again. And with each rising, your authority deepened. You became more than just a survivor. You became a living signal that cannot be silenced. This is why opposition follows you so heavily. Darkness fears what happens when you rise, because it knows realms tremble at the sound of your endurance. Your rising is not only personal, it is generational. There are battles you fought that broke cycles in your family. There are decisions you made that shifted the path of those connected to you. There are wounds you healed that will prevent others from bleeding the same way. All of this happened because you chose not to stay down. You rose, and with your rising came a shaking that traveled further than you realized. Realms tremble because your story changes the course of more than just your own life. Chosen one, remember this. Your presence is not accidental. The way people react to you, whether with admiration or resistance, proves that something in you cannot be ignored. Some are drawn because your light awakens theirs. Others resist because your light exposes what they try to hide. Do not be discouraged by their reactions. Both are confirmation that your rising carries impact. Every shift in the atmosphere around you is a reminder that your fire was meant to be felt. Do not minimize what you carry. Do not call yourself too much. You were never meant to fit comfortably into small places. You were never designed to stay hidden. You were created to rise, and each time you do, realms tremble. That trembling is the sound of destiny making room for you, of opposition collapsing under your weight, of heaven affirming your place. You have been tested, refined, and prepared for this very moment. Now it is time to stand without hesitation, knowing that when you rise, you do not rise alone. The unseen rises with you. So lift your head, straighten your shoulders, breathe deeply, and step into your calling, because when you rise, realms tremble, and nothing around you can remain the same. Chosen one, every setback you endured was never meant to be your ending. It was the foundation for your rising. You have faced doors that slammed shut in your face, betrayals that shattered your trust, and nights where the silence was so heavy it felt unbearable. Yet, here you are. You did not vanish. You did not stay buried. You rose, and every time you did, realms trembled. This is the mystery of your life. Even when you thought you were losing, you were actually gathering strength that would shake worlds. Many around you could not understand why your battles seemed so relentless. They assumed you had bad luck, or that you were being punished. But the truth is, you were being refined. Gold is not made pure without fire, and your soul could not carry its current weight without being tested. Every trial you faced burned away what could not remain. Every loss carved resilience into your bones. Every lonely night pressed wisdom into your spirit. These were not punishments. They were preparations. And now, when you rise, realms tremble because you carry authority forged in the fire of your past. Think about the patterns you broke, the times you said, "This cycle ends with me." Perhaps it was the decision to heal from wounds passed down through generations. Perhaps it was the strength to forgive where bitterness wanted to live. Perhaps it was the courage to walk away from places that suffocated your spirit. Whatever it was, every time you chose growth over comfort, you rose. And unseen realms felt the quake. What you overcame silently was echoed loudly in the spiritual. Because it was not just about you, it was about everyone connected to your rising. You were never meant to blend in with the crowd. That is why you have always felt a little out of place. That is why the weight of life pressed harder on your shoulders than on others. But this difference is not a curse. It is proof. Proof that you are chosen to rise higher, to carry light further, to bear impact deeper. This is why your presence stirs such strong reactions. Some people are drawn to you because your rising gives them hope. Others are intimidated because your rising exposes where they have stayed low. Either way, your existence demands acknowledgement. Chosen one, do not underestimate the value of your scars. They are not ugly marks to hide. They are reminders that you endured. Every scar carries a story, and every story carries power. And when you walk into new seasons, your scars declare silently, "I have risen before, and I will rise again." Realms know this truth, and that is why they tremble. Because they cannot hold down someone who has already risen countless times. Your rising is not fragile, it is unstoppable. You may bend, but you do not break. You may stumble, but you never stay down. You may cry, but you never quit. That resilience terrifies darkness. That persistence shakes dimensions. That fire awakens the heavens. And every time you rise, you declare to the unseen that you are aligned with destiny, no matter how hard the storm tried to bury you. So stand tall in this truth. You were never meant to remain at the bottom. The pit was only the place where your fire grew hotter. The silence was only the season where your wisdom deepened. The betrayal was only the soil where your resilience took root. And now, as you rise, realms tremble. Not just because of where you are, but because of everything you overcame to get here. Chosen one, your life has always been bigger than you realized. You thought the battles you faced were personal, but they were never only about you. Every storm, every test, every moment you rose again was echoing into realms unseen. That is why when you rise, realms tremble. The impact of your rising does not stop with your own survival. It ripples outward, touching lives, breaking chains, and altering destinies. There were times when you stood up after a crushing blow, thinking no one noticed. You believed your tears fell unseen. Your prayers floated unheard. Your strength went unrecognized. But nothing could be further from the truth. In the silence, heaven leaned closer. In the dark, angels took note. In the unseen, dimensions shifted because of your endurance. Your rising is never small. It shakes foundations that were built against you. It dismantles lies that tried to cage you. It calls light into places where shadows thought they had won. Think about how often your spirit stirred when injustice surrounded you. Something inside you refused to stay silent, even if your voice trembled. That stirring was not weakness. It was destiny awakening. And every time you stood tall in truth, realms trembled. People may have dismissed your passion as too much, but they did not realize that your passion is your power. It is the reason you survived when others collapsed. It is the reason doors eventually opened when they should have remained shut. It is the reason the fire in you keeps burning, no matter how many storms tried to drown it. Your journey has always carried a double purpose. On one hand, it was about your own survival. On the other, it was about the lives you would touch by surviving. Someone is watching you, even now, drawing strength from the way you rise. They may never tell you, but your resilience has planted hope inside them. Your refusal to quit has reminded them that they too can endure. And this is why realms tremble when you rise, because your rising ignites more than your own destiny. It sparks light in those connected to you. Chosen one, you must stop questioning whether you are enough. You must stop comparing yourself to those who never carried your weight. You must stop apologizing for the fire inside you. Every part of you, the scars, the tears, the intensity, the persistence, was crafted intentionally. You are not too much. You are perfectly measured for the role you carry. Realms tremble because your rising is backed by heaven. You were not placed here to fade quietly. You were sent to shift atmospheres, to awaken what was asleep, to call life into places that had long given up. Remember this: when you rise, it is not just your life that changes. The ground beneath you shakes because spiritual strongholds cannot survive your resilience. The sky above you opens because heaven cannot ignore your persistence. The path ahead of you clears because destiny honors your courage. Everything responds to your rising because the chosen are not bound to the natural. They are connected to the eternal. So rise again and again. Do not fear the trembling it causes. Do not apologize for the discomfort it brings to those who resist your light. Realms tremble not because you are reckless, but because you are aligned. And alignment with destiny always carries weight. You were chosen to rise, and when you do, nothing, seen or unseen, can remain the same. Chosen one, everything about your journey has been leading to this realization. You were never meant to remain hidden, never meant to stay buried under the weight of pain, and never meant to walk as if your life carried no impact. You are here because when you rise, realms tremble, and that truth cannot be denied. You have lived too much, endured too much, and survived too much for your rising to be anything less than a signal that the unseen pays attention to. Every scar, every moment of silence, every prayer in the dark has prepared you for this season where your rising carries undeniable power. You must understand that the trembling is not just symbolic, it is real. It shows itself in the way people react to you without understanding why. It shows itself in how opportunities begin to shift when you make decisions rooted in courage. It shows itself in the way clarity suddenly arrives after you finally refuse to bow to fear. The trembling is proof that realms recognize you. Heaven recognizes your steps. Darkness recognizes your resistance. Creation itself bends in response to your persistence. That is the authority you carry, even if you cannot always see it clearly. Think about the storms you have endured. Many would have broken in half, but you did not. You bent, but you did not shatter. You stumbled, but you did not stay down. And now every step forward is magnified. Your rising shakes foundations that tried to hold you down. It dismantles lies that said you were unworthy. It silences voices that tried to convince you that your story was over. Every breath you take as a survivor carries power, because realms tremble at the sound of your existence moving forward. Do not be surprised when people treat you differently. Some will admire your resilience, even if they never say it aloud. Others will fear the fire they feel when they are near you. Both responses are proof that your rising shifts atmospheres. You are not meant to be ignored, because the chosen carry energy too strong to be dismissed. When you rise, realms tremble, and people, Whether they admit it or not, sense it in their spirit. Chosen one, your life is a message. Your steps are a prophecy. Your rising is not just about survival. It is about declaration. Every time you rise, you declare that darkness has no final say. You declare that rejection cannot stop purpose. You declare that pain cannot destroy destiny. These declarations are why realms tremble, because your rising is not silent. It carries the sound of truth, authority, and light. So as you move forward into what is next, walk boldly. Do not question whether your presence matters. Do not shrink back when opposition grows louder. Do not apologize for the fire inside you. You were built to rise, and every time you do, the unseen reacts. Heaven applauds, darkness flees, chains break, doors open, and the path ahead clears. When you rise, realms tremble, and that will forever be your truth. Chosen one, as this journey of words reaches its final breath, let me remind you of the eternal truth you must never forget. You were never created to remain small. You were never meant to live quietly in the shadows, pretending you had no fire within you. You were marked from the beginning, chosen for a purpose that could not be stolen, hidden, or destroyed. That is why your life has felt like a battlefield from the start. That is why rejection found you early, why betrayal tried to break you, and why loneliness surrounded you like a cage. These things did not come to crush you. They came to reveal you. They came to awaken you to the truth that when you rise, realms tremble. Every scar you carry is a seal of proof. Every silent prayer is a signature of heaven. Every night you thought you would collapse but didn't, became a monument of resilience. You are the evidence that storms cannot drown purpose, that shadows cannot extinguish light, that pain cannot bury destiny. Each time you stood up again, the unseen shook. Realms trembled because they recognized that nothing could silence the chosen one. And now, standing here, breathing in this very moment, you are proof that rising is not just something you do, it is who you are. You must no longer apologize for the weight you carry. People may misunderstand your intensity, but their misunderstanding does not change your truth. Some will call you too much, but that is because they do not know what it costs to survive storms and still radiate fire. Some will distance themselves because your light exposes the shadows they prefer to hide in. But none of their reactions diminish your worth. They are only reminders that your presence cannot be ignored. You stir atmospheres without even trying. And when you rise, realms tremble, because what is inside you cannot be contained by human labels. Think back on all the times you thought it was the end. The nights you whispered, "I can't anymore." The days where your heart carried so much pain that you thought it would break. Yet every time, something kept you moving. A whisper of strength, a door that opened, a peace that descended in silence. That was not luck. It was response. Heaven was answering your persistence. Realms were trembling at your rising. Even when you didn't see it, the unseen was bending to make sure you would endure. You were never walking alone, and you never will. Chosen one, this next chapter of your life demands courage. You cannot go back to hiding your fire. You cannot keep lowering your voice just to keep others comfortable. You cannot keep questioning whether you are worthy of the calling that has always been yours. The time has come to step boldly into who you are. Because when you rise now, it will not only shake the realms, it will awaken others. Your rising is contagious. Your strength is inspiration. Your fire is a torch for those still sitting in the dark. And as you rise, you give others permission to rise too. So let this be your declaration. No more shrinking, no more silencing, no more doubting. You will stand tall, because your scars are proof you were built to endure. You will walk boldly, because your fire was meant to be seen. You will rise again and again, because that is who you are. And every time you do, Realms will tremble, heaven will respond, and destiny will unfold before your very eyes. Lift your head high, straighten your shoulders, take a deep breath, and remember, you are not ordinary. You are chosen.